Well, it's the third day of Asset Day here at the Riot Games Studio with coverage brought to you by Alienware. I'm joined right now by CLG's Smoothie and Stixxay, the bot lane duo. How are you guys doing? I mean, this is kind of the first time. I mean, how much have you guys been able to hang out much? I guess you had a boot camp, right?
Yeah. I'd say a lot.
Yeah, we had some bonding time.
Yeah.
Okay.
We were rooming together, so.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
How's that been going? Is everything in a good place?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think so.
There's no tension or...
I don't think so. I mean, actually, Andy's pretty straightforward from, like, just my previous teammates and stuff, so it's a little different, but I don't mind it.
Have you guys figured out what the bot lane name is?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I never think
Still
about
in
it.
development.
No idea.
Still in
Yeah.
development.
Yeah,
Someone create
the fans
one.
can do it for us.
Yeah.
Well, maybe the fans can do it for us. Maybe you can start by giving me some context, Smoothie, on how you ended up at CLG. I don't know if this was a conversation or if one day, I don't know, Reggie just walks in and is like, "Hey, back up, you're headed to Culver."
So I think I had indirectly I had some say in the trade. Like I could have probably said no to it, but I think that it was for the best for me and TSM. So I'm like, at the end of the day, this is probably the right choice. Because I want TSM to succeed too. Like they're really good to me when I was on the team. So
They couldn't succeed without you.
I mean, we'll see.
Or with you.
We'll see.
So they had
Second
to,
place, but anyway, yeah, like it just worked out for both of us, and it made sense. So.
Yeah. Well, Stixxay, I was just interviewing Weldon, and he was saying, he's like, I definitely feel like we have a stronger roster and more structure in place now than we did last year. And he's like, and we almost did it last year. So do you feel like this is the year you guys can do it?
Yeah, I mean, I think we had like Wiggly, who was like a rookie last year, so he has a lot more experience now. And just in terms of like how our team gels together, I feel like everything is really nice. Everyone's really easy to work with, so I think we have a good shot.
Well, based off, how does Smoothie compare to working with Vincent last year, even just like when it comes down to the lane mechanics and the dynamic between you two?
I think Andy's a lot more like hands-on with me compared to Bao. I think Bao was more like I had to kind of reach out to him, if we wanted to fix stuff. Andy's kind of like a, I'll help you and you'll help me, same kind of thing. So it's nice having like a lot of, able to bounce more ideas off of him and stuff. So.
Well, I mean, it's always been said that Smoothie, you're a very vocal support player. So I assume that kind of plays into it, right? There's just maybe more dialogue even in the game, I assume.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I had to kind of learn to talk a lot less because I was covering a lot of stuff for the bottom lane last year, and now it is Andy just kind of says it first. So it's almost easier for me. But I almost have to remind myself to talk sometimes because he just does everything.
Yeah. So slowly you've just you're moving into just the robot that he's controlling in the bot lane.
And that's what I want.
Yeah.
But,
that's what I find all ADs want. All ADs, they
course.
have a lot of opinions, but when it comes down to it, they just want their support to like pilot them to where they need to go.
And he does a really good job of that. He's really consistent, so it's nice.
It's awesome. How do you feel your bot lane measures up against some of the other bot lanes in the LCS this year?
So we didn't really scrim with any, except for like maybe 2 or 3 NA teams so far, and we've done pretty well against them. So I'm pretty confident going in. We haven't like scrimmed like TL's bot lane or anything yet, but I still think we're doing pretty good for like just being a new bot lane,
Weldon mentioned you guys were playing against a ton of the Kespa Cup teams in Korea. What was it like facing those bot lanes? Because I assume pretty scary.
Actually, they weren't that bad, honestly. They really weren't like pressuring us in lane that much.
Yeah, I mean that's why we haven't really played versus NA teams, but we play versus with really good Korean teams, and it's like, I mean they're okay. It's not like nothing special, So
yeah,
I guess that means we're good. I don't know.
I mean, sorry. It was more like they just farmed in lane, and their team did stuff around them, and they did stuff around the team, which we weren't as good yet because we're a new team. And it was really obvious. Like even if they didn't like have like a game impact in lane, they just played really well with their team.
How helpful was that practice in getting back into the swing of things?
I mean, I think it was pretty important. I guess it's just because preseason and all these changes, but like League has kind of just become like a clusterfuck, if I can say that.
Yeah.
So it was pretty weird. I think a lot of like the fundamentals of the game have changed, and it's kind of normal, I guess, through meta shifts and stuff. But yeah, it's a lot different. So I think going to Korea and playing versus good teams who like knew also what the best things were to do are going to help us a lot.
Do you think there's been a pretty big meta change? Because some of the players have been telling me that they feel like nothing's going to change. Like it'll feel a lot like last year.
I don't think that's very true.
No way.
Yeah,
No way.
it just feels like with the new dragon changes and herald changes, there's going to be a lot more team fighting, which is really good for the game, I think. Just like viewing experience, because no one wants to watch like 50-minute long games. There's like a lot of fighting now, so it's pretty fun to play.
Are alcoves going to see any play?
Alcos are kind of useless. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, because that's what I keep hearing, and it's kind of sad because like conceptually it's kind of cool. Like, oh, this is like a unique
Yeah.
strategy situation, you know. But
I mean, I do think that there's more avenues for example, like a jungler to gank through the alcos and stuff. But like outside of that, it's not super utilized. For laners, it's kind of whatever. It's just there.
is there a world where like people just haven't figured out how to use them yet?
I think so. I think in like a way, but I also think it's not super impactful still. But I think people are still not using them as much as they could be. So.
Well, what do you think of the other teams in the LCS? Because obviously we've seen a ton of changes across the board. Are there any teams that are interesting to you?
Definitely a couple. For me, it's like EG, C9, TL, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. I can't think of any more that would really stand out.
Okay. No mention of TSM and that. I feel like TSM fans. TSM, they've been around for a long time. Your former support used to, and then he also.
That's where we went?
Yeah.
Those guys,
So,
Yes,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that might be okay.
Okay.
I don't know, we'll see.
Yeah, gotcha. I'm excited to see how that pans out. I mean, it feels like CLG was kind of on the rise from a competitive side at the end of last year. Do you expect that narrative to continue? I mean, it'd be really fun, for instance, to see the CLG TSM rivalry reignite, and maybe you facing off against your former bot lane partner, you facing off against your former team. Like, there's kind of a story there, right?
Yeah, I think, I mean, for us at least, it's like, I think we have expectations now. Before we didn't really have expectations, so it's like kind of going into this year and people are expecting us to be like at least, like top 4, stuff like that. So I definitely feel the pressure myself, and I think we're going to be okay, I think, so.
Any thoughts on the format changes with championship points and Monday night games, etc.?
I'm not sure about that one because the way it sounds like spring split doesn't really matter. It's just like for fun.
Yeah.
Like going to MSI is nice, and like you get the clout and stuff, right? But like going like it's not really you don't get anything for like worlds, no points or anything more. So I don't really know what I want to say about
I mean,
that.
I've always been of the opinion that like it's kind of weird when like a team does really well in spring, they fall off really hard in summer, and then they still go to worlds. I always thought it's kind of weird because it's not like the strongest team, but like at the same time, it feels so weird that spring is just useless. So I don't really know how to fix that, but
Yeah. Do you feel like that will affect the motivation for any of the teams in spring? Because we had a caller on Hotline League this week who's like, I'm less interested in spring because I feel like a lot of the players are not going to be trying as hard.
I mean,
personally, I don't think so. But maybe for some people, I don't know.
correct me if I'm wrong, but this format's the same in LEC, right?
I think, actually, I don't know. I don't know if they use points to get into Worlds from spring, but maybe they do. I know there's the playoffs format that they are changing to, where there's like a double elimination situation. That is, and they play like second and third play on the first day of the finals weekend. That is definitely LEC, but I don't know if they do championship points or not.
Okay, because I know that in LEC there's like a bunch of rookies. There's like at least 10 rookies playing now in LEC. So maybe that's just
I don't know who's playing in LEC at all.
Yeah, right. Like that's just a result of like spring not mattering, I guess. But I don't know. There's definitely a lot more room to like try stuff out for orgs and for better or for worse,
Do you think the first couple of weeks are just going to be a shit show? Because I come here and I request players, and then I hear they're not even in the country, and I'm like,
yeah. Well, I mean, for sure, because I mean, I think every NA team has imports nowadays, and there's a lot of visa issues going on. So it might be kind of weird for the first couple of weeks. Like that's why I was pretty curious to see TL, because I think usually people expect TL to do really well, but they don't have a jungler right now.
They do. And his
do.
name is Pole Belter. How dare
right.
you disrespect
I'm
Eugene?
sorry. They don't have their main jungler.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's like hard to know what to expect.
Anything you guys want to say to any of the CLG fans out there?
Thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks for supporting us, and thanks.
Thanks.
Exciting words from the bot lane duo of CLG. Thank you guys so much for the interview. For everyone else, you can check out the rest of my coverage of all things esports right here on my YouTube channel. Thanks so much for watching that interview, and thank you to Alienware Movement for sponsoring And I really appreciate all the support that they give us. Alienware has a brand new monitor that they announced at CES. You can go check it out in the link in the video description. Really helps me out. But also, we're doing the Gaffies this Sunday. I don't know if this interview and this outro is coming out before or after the Gaffies happen. But guess what? If it's happening after, you can go check it out on my YouTube channel. We had a lot of fun making that this year, and hopefully everything goes well and isn't a disaster. Either way, check it out. But we are doing that Sunday at 5:30 PST, the weekend before the LCS starts. So be sure to tune in if you're seeing this beforehand. Thanks so much for watching.